Good morning. It is Real Estate Tips Tuesday, and this week's tips, I'm going to talk a little bit about buying a home. Surprise, surprise. So, if you are like me, you're starting to sit down and go through your yearly goals. This year, I've got some goals set out that I would like to purchase more properties. I want to purchase more investment properties. So these are 6 tips to think about when buying a new home. If you're a first-time home buyer, you probably fall under the category of a fixer-upper because you can't afford to be in the bracket where you can purchase a home that has all the whistles and bells. So you have to settle. But is it the right time to settle? Especially in the Denver market. I know that in the Denver market, the prices are pretty high. Here's the first tip to think about when buying a home and if this is the right time to buy a fixer-upper. So the first tip is that materials are extremely high right now. If you go into buying a fixer-upper, you want to make sure that you have the exact budget that you can work with, because unplanned expenses happen and usually put people over budget, especially with first-time home buyers. This can be a problem because they are house poor, which means that they put all their money into buying their home and they don't have much left over for renovations. So you want to keep that in mind, especially if you go into a fixer-upper thinking that down the line we will fix stuff up. But if you don't do the inspections and due diligence up front, it could cost you quite a bit. But if you're going into it knowing that you're going to fix it up, make sure that you have a budget that can reflect some issues that may arise later. Because right now, with materials being so high, the supply is very limited because of shipping issues. And the demand is super high because everybody is trying to fix up some part of their home. Labor is definitely a problem too because there is less people out there to help with your renovations. Tip number 2. During this pandemic, the question is about COVID and how safe you are. So you want to take this into consideration because you are going to have lots of contractors in and out of your home and staying there for long periods of time. And it would be unrealistic to think that they could be in those kind of conditions all day long, working hard with a mask on all day long. Number 3 is hidden problems and violations. Even experienced inspectors can miss things that are hidden behind the walls. So it might look okay, but then you start doing construction and you find that there's termites in the walls, or there was a foundation problem that really is going to be an issue and needs to be fixed. Code violations. If the home is very old, it might not be up to code. You'll have to work with contractors to get your home up to code. And there also could be liens on the property. So you really want to do your due diligence up front to make sure that the home doesn't have any liens on it and it is up to code so that you don't have to fix some of those code violations. Another hidden problem that will send homeowners 10 times over their original budget is plumbing issues. If you have an older home, sometimes they have galvanized piping, iron piping, and those pipes over the years have become so brittle that even a bump to any of these during construction can cause major problems. So you definitely want to look into that as well. Tip number 4, which people probably don't think about, but can be a major problem, and that is theft during your renovation. During your renovation, your home is constantly being opened and closed. Sometimes windows are opened for ventilation, and they're constantly being left that way when contractors are coming in and out of your home. So thieves definitely target these homes because they have easy access to it, but not only that, they have an idea of what's going on in there and the haul that they can get. Sometimes your contractors may leave their tools there, and tools are definitely one of those items that thieves will love to take advantage of stealing. Number 5 is environmental issues or hazards. Most of the time, when you're purchasing a fixer-upper, you're purchasing a home that is decades old. And with this comes problems, environmental problems such as lead-based paint or asbestos. And these problems need to be taken care of because you don't want to be in a home that has these types of environmental hazards. So you really want to make sure that you know what you can do to prevent these hazards from entering your home and being toxic to you and your family. Number 6. Everybody is doing it, right? Everybody is buying a fixer-upper thanks to HGTV and all of the fun and exciting TV programs out there that make renovating your own home very fun. But if you don't know how to do it, or you don't ask enough questions, you could be putting yourself in financial risks and environmental health hazards, or just plain not wanting to do it because you get overwhelmed. The best way to prevent going over budget or walking into problems you can't solve is to ask tons of questions. Make sure you ask your real estate agent tons of questions beforehand. Make sure that you ask your contractor, your inspectors. Make sure that you try to ask as many questions as possible. This way, it will help you to budget and keep on budget what your renovation costs will look like. So if everybody is doing this, the supply and demand come into play. That's especially apparent here in Colorado, where everybody is looking to buy their next home and the supply is very low, which causes the prices to increase. And in the words of the great Warren Buffett, buy when everyone else is selling and hold until everybody else is buying. If you enjoyed these tips today, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button so that you can get these great tips every week into your email box. And until next week, have a wonderful rest of the week.